Hollon Gold, home of the gold maker, Brigand's Idaho. I had an assignment from my buddy Bob, which was to go back to the scene of the crime where I took my original high banker, the gold maker, and proof concept. I found a nugget down there that would have been washed out with the previous machine that we built, etc., etc. I was supposed to go make a video, and life happened, and I've been working on my house and my deck, and that didn't get done. My friend Bob wasn't real happy with me, but he's in the process of getting over it, and we're going to do that. Actually, I think we're going to do it when Bob comes out this summer. But today what we want to talk about is how we use technology such as AI and LiDAR and Google Earth to find gold. Bob is much more versed on this than me. I'm more traditional. I use maps, use United States Geological Survey or Idaho Geological Survey. Great tool. I read a lot of history books. That's kind of my go-to. We're looking at and metal detecting an ancient river channel this summer. I was in there about 15 years ago with my nephew. We came out with approximately 50 nuggets, about 2 ounces of gold, and we're gonna go back. And again, we did our research and we went up there and we learned a lot. And Bob's talking about using AI to find gold, and he showed me a map of exactly where he thought the gold should be up there on top of this ancient river channel. And as skeptical as I've been, he kind of circled exactly where the gold was. So I'm paying more attention. And so Bob, why don't you explain what you're doing and what you're learning, and maybe you can teach us how you use the AI technology, the LiDAR, etc., to find gold.
Okay, no problem. So basically, between Mark and I, we have like a layered system where we use different information layers and stack them on top of each other. So for example, a lot of people use Google Earth. I would suggest Google Earth Pro for your desktop. I use LiDAR along with a program called QGIS, various AI tools, CalTopo, Onyx, and of course geological surveys. Each tool fills a gap, and the magic really is how they all work together. So Google Earth, great for scouting, what to look for, gives you a nice overview. You can see river bends and gravel bars, access routes, historical disturbances, visual patterns. So it's really good at that. However, it's real poor resolution. When you start seeing it becomes very flat. You can't see the subtle terrain and no subsurface insight. I use it for the kind of the eagle eye view, a macro view looking down. So from there, we go into, it gets me into a ballpark. It doesn't find gold. Now, LiDAR, which everybody's talking about in a program called QGIS, it finds hidden structures. And what it does is it really eliminates all vegetation, so you actually look at the ground. Even if it's snow covered, there's things you could do to eliminate that where you still see the subsurface. Now, this is not ground penetrating radar, but it's really good if you know how to properly use it. And the great part about it, all the data is free from the USGS. The mapping, the QGIS is a free mapping software. What is LiDAR? It's light detection and ranging is what it stands for. And what it does, it reveals paleo channels or ancient river channels, bench deposits, old river paths, subtle slope changes, which Mark alluded to, and bedrock features. So what I do is I download the data from USGS, and I download it in what they call the DEM, which is Digital Elevation Model. I load all that information into QGIS. Now, I should let you know that you need a good computer. You can't just do this on your phone because the 1 meter DEM data is very detailed and they're massive files. So you need a lot of, and I don't want to get too technical here, a lot of RAM, or random access memory. 16 is minimum, 32 is better, just to manipulate the data. And I'll also let you know, I work off of a Mac, and a Windows is actually better for QGIS to do some of the other advanced modeling that you could do. However, the things you're going to see is off of my Mac, which are still pretty good. But anyway, so I take the data and I start applying what they call a multi-layer hill shade and slope. And basically, what I'm looking for are flat zones. 1 to 3 degree slopes, ancient terraces, like I said, the paleo channels well above the river, and any washed out channels. It'll reveal all this stuff. This has a steep learning curve. This is nothing you're going to pick up. Now, I know there's places out there you could from. One of them is out of Australia. I've looked at it. Pretty good. Does a lot of stuff. But again, if it's that easy, everybody's going to look at it and they're going to look at the same features you're looking at. What I'm suggesting, you take the time, you learn it, and you go deeper so you understand exactly what LiDAR can and cannot do. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've looked at a fair amount of videos. It will not find gold. Anybody that says that is full of shit. Excuse my language. And I get tired of a lot of these guys for clickbait to say, well, LiDAR will find gold. You see that in their thumbnail. No, it will not find gold. It may show you where it was dug up, and it's going to show you a lot of interesting things. All it's going to do is going to take that Google Earth macro image, and now you're really looking at the detailed terrain model, so you could start utilizing other resources that we're going to talk about to get to the best possible ground.
It'll show you a tailing pile, it'll show you a tunnel entrance, it'll show you where gold has been found, but it won't find gold.
Exactly. And the other interesting thing about the LiDAR data will take away man-made objects too. For example, if I remember, I'll put up a picture of the Salmon River where a time zone bridge right outside of Riggins disappears. All it looks, you see the river, and it's a very interesting technology. And if used properly with the other resources that Mark and I use, so what the LiDAR really does, you go from guessing to, okay, this may be a viable area. Now, the key that I started using is artificial intelligence. And what it does is analyzes the data faster and thinks deeper. Tools like ChatGPT shows you structure and gives you analysis. Claude's another one's a long-form reasoning model. Grok and Gemini are quick data pulls. But what AI actually does, it synthesizes geology and terrain, finds patterns that you may miss, and helps refine targets. As Mark alluded to, the area that we're going to, he had been to before, found a nice amount of gold, and just for grins, because he's like, yeah, Bob, whatever. So I gave him a model.
I said, that's what I said. It's like, you're going to find gold using AI, and he circled on the map where the gold should be.
And what I actually did is I didn't even circle it. I had the AI model say, where should the gold be found? And it circled the photo that I gave him, or the LiDAR modeling, and gave not only that, but also
gave us some other likely spots, and it got my attention. We're going back.
Okay, but what does AI not do? Can anybody guess?
Probably
it doesn't find gold either.
Find gold.
But it does need good prompts and context. Just, for example, you want to say for paleochannel likelihood, gold traps, and flow dynamics. Those are just some prompts you would put in. And then what it'll do, you could also feed a screenshot or an actually JPEG or a PNG file to the AI and let them analyze it. And again, it's not a prospector, we're prospectors. It's just another tool in our bucket, a part of the layering process. We're going from the macro view, Google Earth, down to a more detailed using LiDAR, and now we're incorporating the AI tools to help us refine to either confirm or deny areas. In a particular place Mark is talking about, I was as surprised as Mark was. I thought, well, hey, this is going to work. Other tools that we use, another one, I know it's been out there, it's called CalTopo. Really good. It also shows you layering and terrain. It'll also show you slope, but it's not nearly as detailed as LiDAR or AI. But you can overlay geological overlays on it. You could do slope shading. You can have contours. It's easy to use. Weakness is not nearly as detailed as LiDAR, and it's more of a general overview, but it's also nice to have, you can have in your pocket. So again, I use it to confirm terrain changes, cross-check slope and elevation, and overlay geology with the terrain. Again, the CalTopo connects the dots between terrain and geology. And the next tool that we use is on X1. And the key thing about that, it actually shows you the access and land ownership. It's great for property boundaries, claim awareness, roads, ATV, trail access. It avoids wasting a lot of time. You could do all the stuff we're talking about, and if you don't do that, you may find yourself in a little bit of legal issues going on somebody's property. And in Idaho, they don't like people wandering on their property. So again, you could find the best gold locations in the world,
and run into
it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the last thing Mark alluded to is using like geological surveys, be it the USGS or in Mark's case, the Idaho Geological Survey. Excellent sources. And with that, using also the local knowledge and a lot of local books that you could get that have a history. I think, Mark, what are a couple of the books that you used in your research?
One of my favorite ones is Pioneer Days in Idaho. It's written by a gal with the Catholic Church up there. She's got volume 1, volume 2, and it has a ton of Idaho mining history in it. Anything history of Idaho, volume 1, volume 2, anything that's Idaho history, I've pretty much digested it.
So that's another layer that one needs to do if you really want to do quality research and not just wander out and follow the well-beaten path by everybody else out there. But another thing, like geological surveys, these other resources help you do. They help. What are the lode sources of the gold lore? Is it placer? Can you find the placer reports? What type of deposits? Any type of specific geology. So anyway, all these resources confirm why gold is there, not just where. So geology tells you gold should be there. And as my friend Mark has a famous saying, what is that your famous saying?
You're always 1 foot away from $1 million or 1,000,000 feet away from $1 when it comes to gold. Always.
So the great process, I believe, is it starts eliminating a lot of the guesswork, and it gets down there. Well, again, none of it finds gold, but I think we've already proven, and we'll prove again this summer, as when we do our mining, and that we're going to eliminate a lot of bad ground. And if you can eliminate a lot of bad ground and you concentrate on the higher probability areas based on research, that makes a lot of sense to me. So in a nutshell, Google Earth spots an area, LiDAR confirms structure, AI analyzes patterns, CalTopo validates the terrain, Onyx confirms access, and geological surveys the resources, confirms source.
I'm very interested, Bob, when we do go back in there. Again, you confirmed where we found most of our gold, and then you also, your AI program lit up on some other likely spots up there. And so when we get in there this summer and we do some gold mining and we find some gold, I'm very curious if your AI technology actually did help us find some gold.
What I do plan on, Mark, is, as we talked about here, and I know getting a little ahead of the game, is that we're going to have a couple of just short videos. And we gotta start planning for our mining adventures, and in the next video or two, I know you'll kind of wrap it up here of what we plan on doing. But I do plan on doing this analysis on. We talked about going back up to Warren Mining District. We have the Florence Mining District and your gold claims on up there. And doing this type of analysis along with the Salmon River. Now, the one thing about LiDAR does not see through water. And I know there's an area that Mark and I have talked about. I know Mark's wanted to get back there for years, and I'm excited about it because in one of his books, a gentleman pulled out, over 3,000 ounces from this particular section of.
Yeah, it was just that thousands. And I have from a personal friend who no longer is with us. He passed away, but he knew the gentleman personally and said that two of the nuggets that he pulled out of this particular hole were the size of a baseball. So kind of an exciting spot. I also have found coarse gold right there on the bank, up to 1 1/3 ounce nugget. And so I do believe, obviously there's coarse gold there, we've proven that. Bob's ready to go diving, even if it's 200 feet deep, I think. But
First going to do, Mark, is we'll get you more exercise so you can now row your drift boat, and we're going to take my depth finder, and we're going to make ourselves an underwater terrain map. And then I'll put that into the AI, and we'll see what it comes up with. How's that?
sounds like going 200 feet. I'll go 30 feet with you, Bob, but I'm not going 200 feet, just so you know.
I don't think it's that deep there, because that gentleman had, if I recall, you showed me a picture, he had an 8-inch dredge, and that thing ain't going 200 feet.
I think he was about 30 or 40 feet, something like that.
We're going to find out. So anyway, our next video, do we want to do the in-depth LiDAR, or do we want to kind of hold off that and just do a summation? And so we can start prepping for mining season. What are your thoughts, Mark?
I think we ought to sum it up and go mining, and then we'll put some real mining, no BS videos back out. What do you think?
I think that's good, because looking at the what's going on, you and I both got a lot of stuff going on, and 2 months is going to go by real quick. and we have a lot of preparation to do. How about we'll talk about that in our next video, what we plan on doing this summer, and so people get an idea what hopefully to look for, or all the thousands of subscribers that we have.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, my friend, we'll chat soon.
We'll keep you posted.